About you, but I love a night at the theatre. That is, of course, if you can afford it. Over here in London and across the United Kingdom, we have some of the best theatre in the world. I'm sure you'll agree. And of course, when you look at the touring productions and the productions around the world, you also bring some wonderful theatre to our cities too. You know, I see a lot of it. You know, Kirov Ballet. There's some great thing happening right now at a theatre near me, all about the Korean world of theatre. Just interesting stuff. You have to be open-minded to everything, don't you? Because everywhere in the world has unique talents. The one thing I would say about London, though, is particularly Theatreland, it's incredibly expensive, as we all know. Now, what I find incredible during this cost of living crisis, and with theatre looming for yet another crisis after the pandemic, you would have thought they would have been a little bit more welcoming. Well, sadly, seemingly, as ever, that's not the case. Let me explain. Good morning, Neil Sean here in the very heart of London. Just behind me here is the stage door along this street for Phantom of the Opera. One of my all-time favourite shows. I've been lucky enough to meet many of the big stars. And when you think about it, you know, it all started way back in the middle 80s with the brilliant Michael Crawford, MBE, and Sarah Brightman. And really, you know, they had no idea if they had a hit on their hands. What a colossal hit that particular musical has become. Been lucky enough to interview Michael many times. Have to say he's possibly my all-time favourite Phantom. He created it, so of course I think you have an affinity with that, don't you? We had a wonderful night together where we hosted a one-man show at the Victoria and Albert Museum. Really posh, you know what I'm saying? And I've got to tell you a funny story. We were there, and one of the things they said was, oh, you know, we'd rather the audience didn't ask him about Some Mothers Do Have 'Em. It's all about, you know, the anniversary of Phantom. Guess what the first question was? You know, you can't escape the Berry and the Gabardine Coat, can you? You know, that's the audience, that's what they've paid for, and they're going to ask. But this particular sort of incident really just highlighted to me how daft theatre is becoming in this 21st century age. And let me explain. As we know, you know, we've just battled through a terrible situation with a worldwide pandemic, COVID-19, and we were looking at theatre getting back on track. And now, as I say, we've got the cost of living crisis. Tickets are not cheap, you know, by any stretch of the imagination. They put up these signs saying tickets from X, but you can never truly get them because they, of course, have all gone first. You go into the theatre, and then, of course, you're met by someone, if you're lucky now, in a box office that could possibly guide you through the eye-watering prices. The thing I don't like about theatre anymore is there's no manager to meet you outside looking resplendent in a dinner suit, commissionaires looking wonderful in hats and braided jackets and coats. Might be old-fashioned, but it really does sort of add to the experience, particularly when you've paid so much money. And nowadays, of course, you get frog marched in, looking like people who have come from some kind of camp where they've been trained to treat you badly, checking your bags for cameras, checking your bags for all sorts of stuff. There's no niceties, there's no pleasantries anymore. But then you see this sign, yeah, that's right. Now this sign basically claims that even though you've spent all of that money, you know, the expensive ticket, perhaps a taxi, a pre-dinner, drinks in the bar at the theatre where you'll need a second mortgage for. You can't have anything signed, you certainly can't have a picture with the alleged stars of the musical, and more importantly, you know, they kind of just want you to watch and go. Well, what I find strange about that particular incident is, if you think about it, you've paid a lot of money. How difficult would it be for these so-called stars to take a quick picture with you as a memento? They're blaming, of course, the fact that it's all COVID-19 pandemic related. It's daft, as I said at the beginning of this video. When you think about it, they're asking you to sit in a theatre with complete strangers, shoulder to shoulder. Heaven knows what you could pick up. So outside in the open air, just a distant picture, or indeed the signing of a programme, or indeed a picture, a memento, anything that you have, how difficult would that be? And how stupid of it is for Phantom of the Opera to deny those dedicated fans who have paid so much money to see this particular show, to deny them that one treat at the end of a very expensive matinee or evening performance. Either way, as I've said many times before here on the show, theatre simply doesn't help itself. Neil Sean in the very heart of London.